And we are live. It's actually 2 minutes past 2:32 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon. And you are watching Innovation Fika with me, Donny, here on, LinkedIn, and now also Instagram. Perfect, very good. And YouTube as well. Excellent. I added YouTube because some people couldn't comment on the LinkedIn channel. Anyway, Donny here, Innovation Fika, every Wednesday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. My innovation coffee break, my Innovation Fika, 30 minutes, the world's fastest 30 minutes, where I get to meet fantastically interesting people and talk about fantastically interesting things, and with a live audience. And I do this live because I want people to interact and say hi. And yes, hi Yash from India, my dear regular. Good to see you, sir. Happy to see you last week. I know you missed last week. Good to see you back this week. Hi from India as well. But let's get the show on the road, and I will say welcome to this week's guest, Karin Sjöö Åkebloom. Welcome into the studio, Karin.
Thank you, Donny. Nice to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. You're up north, I hear.
Yes, among the polar bears. Yes, and the reindeers.
Exactly. Do you still have snow where you are?
Actually, it came some snow this morning, but now I think it's gone. It's sunny now, but it's been really much snow this winter, so some snow still here. Yes.
It actually snowed here in Stockholm yesterday morning, as in like tiny flakes that just sort of came down through the air, and then they just disappeared. But that was actually snow in the air yesterday as well. But of course, in Stockholm, we feel that we're sort of way south, and we feel that you're sort of way north. But everybody else in the world sees us all as like sort of, whatever. Anyway, welcome to the show, Karin. Thank you so much for spending this 30 minutes with me today and the rest of the people in the world.
Thank you.
And everybody that does come online, please introduce yourself online, say who you are, where you're from, and let's get the networking started, because we do this live in order to get comments and everybody online as well. So here we go. Karin, let's start with you. Who are you and what do you do?
Yes, what do I do and who I am? I'm a woman, a CEO at a tech company. I live here among the polar bears, and I like cooking, exercising, being out in the nature, and we work with digital transformation and digital business development at Tromb. So that's very short who I am and what I do.
Yeah, and the company name is Tromb, Tromb,
yes,
right? And
yes.
and how many people in the company?
Around 60 people.
60 people. And I know that you are. I mean, I found you on LinkedIn, and as I wrote to you, I read everything about you, right? But by the way, make sure to follow Karin on LinkedIn. She's well worth following for the content that she publishes there. So follow Karin on LinkedIn as well, of course. But I know that you're an advocate for equality and diversity in the workplace, and being the CEO of a IT company. What that wouldn't be the first thing that you think about, because I'd say that in general we have maybe an old image of IT companies in general, but you're actually the second female CEO of an IT company that I'm interviewing now. So we need to change the image of what's going on.
Yes, please, let's do that.
Yeah, but what's your sort of take on the whole sort of tech bro, IT guy thing, sort of, and how do you work with the whole equality thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an engineer from school, and when I was a little girl, I didn't think that the least thing I wanted to be was an engineer. I didn't know what they did, and I thought it was boring, and I loved mathematics, physics, chemistry, everything, all the technical school thing, but I didn't know what an engineer did. And then I started thinking, what do I like to do? What am I good at? And I like to solve problems and kind of creative how to solve them, and to do that together with other people. And then I realized, oh my God, that's what an engineer is doing, solving problems together with other people, being creative and using technical skills to do that. So that's when I got into the technical part and engineering part. And I work with a lot with the product development and production development, more like in industrial things. And then I started realizing that IT and tech is a lot of product development and service development is depending on the IT and the tech to be a better service and better for the user and so on. So I got really interested in tech and IT. So that's kind of the background. I believe that product development and IT and tech, everything in this matter is problem solving and a creative process. And I don't think that's either female or male. I think that's both. That's a human thing to wanting to create a better world and a better solution, and feeling frustrated about products and services that doesn't work, that doesn't have an interface that communicates with you. So I think it's old fashioned, I would say, to think that it's male or female. I think it's we need both, and we need everyone to be able to do more innovation and more creative stuff, because we need to be different to be able to create the good shit.
Yeah. Thankfully, this is always being recorded. So you've just given me the best sales pitch for why to become an engineer that I've ever heard before.
Solve the good shit or what?
Especially that part. That's yes, exactly. No, but all of what you said, I can, I'm nodding along here as well. I'm just saying hi to Gunvor as well. Gunvor from Oslo, Norway, who is a really good friend of mine, who is a really, really good psychologist that works a lot with interpersonal relationships and is very interested in the subject that we're talking about when it comes to equality and diversity. So happy to see Gunvor on the call today as well. But coming back to what you were talking about when it comes to because you also talked about the differences and the strengths of differences, but you don't have a straight line engineering starting as a coder when you were 16 and now you're a CEO of a coding company. I heard theater as well before, right?
Yes, I've been working at a theater here in the northern Sweden. Yes.
Okay, so I mean that wasn't right, and that's maybe not. However, this is interesting because I'm sorry to say this, but in a Swedish setting, you wouldn't think that being an engineer, you'd need to actually also have been at the theater. But one thing that struck me when I was at Stanford in the US was that the first 2 years they don't do any sort of major studies. They only do social sciences, and they do improv theater, and they do building the holistic whole person, and then so they choose which direction they're going. And I'd say that if we had just improv theater courses on all schools in Sweden, we'd have much, much, much better engineers as well. Well, people in general. But
I think so too.
What in your experience, and I know we're kind of sort of not getting off track here, but we're still on track. But what no, talk about theater specifically. What did you learn and build with yourself working with theater that you now brought into your sort of leadership and the IT sort of problem solving where you are now?
Yeah, I would say to trust the process. That we are going through a process to create something and to solve something. I think it's not the same process within theater, but you need to be safe and secure within your team to be able to be creative, and that you have this deadline, and this deadline you should be. This is the definition of done. Here you are done with your creation, and theater is also very agile. You have the plan and you have the script and you have everything, but you need to try what is working. You try together with the audience and see okay, this doesn't work, they don't understand this, this is a better way of doing it. So it's also agile way, but they don't say that they work agile with the theater, but you work with problem solving towards a target and a deadline, and you need to be safe and secure. I think very likely to very similar to problem solving and IT.
Yeah. And again, hi from Petter as well. Have Peter, go Karin, you're a star and a true leader. Yes, she is. Thank you, Petter, for jumping in with that as well. I will definitely agree with you on that part. And I just have a small anecdote there, because there's this place in Stockholm called Norra Brunn, which is a stand-up comedy scene. And if you go there on a weekday, like a Wednesday, you can see actually, the big stand-up comedy stars practicing and trying out new material. The stuff that you'll see a year later on the big stage. And then when you see them on the big
prototyping.
Prototype, exactly. And when you see them on the big stage, you don't realize that they've actually spent like a 6-month stretch trying stuff that didn't work, that tanked and failed terribly, and that didn't work. And then, next Wednesday they do go up and they try something new. And then when they find something that works and resonates with the audience, then they package that and then they put it on the big stage. So it's very agile indeed. And I think that's I love the part where you also talk about co-creation with the audience, where you're actually you're listening to what you're getting back, and that's really that's something you want in anybody working with any kind of consultancy as well, is the whole sort of feeling of co-creation as well as also. But that's one thing. And then you talk also about the importance. Well, you said male and female, and it's just everybody needs to be on board. But how have you practically gone about trying to work and create a workplace that is more diverse? I mean, how do you do it?
I believe it's I think it's two different things. The one thing is the quantity, how many people are you, and how diverse are you in the numbers. And the other thing is you can be inclusive and have an including culture, and not have the numbers right because you have a good culture. So I think you need to work with both, because do you have the numbers, you get something for free, because it's easier to understand people and be more inclusive if you work with them, and you get you get sort of a feeling of how to be someone who isn't within the norm. So I think you need to work with both, and I think to get the numbers more right, you need to work with the culture, because otherwise people who aren't in your norm within your company won't stay. Even though you can attract them, they can start it at your workplace, they will leave if the culture isn't good. So you need to work with both the numbers and the culture. And I think it's very much about the safety and to feel secure within the team, because then you can communicate and say, this doesn't feel good. When you say like this, I feel excluded, I'm offended, or whatever. But if you don't have this safe space, you will not say this. You will be quiet, and you will feel bad within and feel it's my fault, and I'm not what do you say? You feel awkward and not comfortable. So I think this safety and I don't know if the right word is safety. You feel secure within the team. That's very, very important, and I think that's much about the leaders to be able to be vulnerable and to speak about your my brister. What do you say in English? My
faults and failures, and
my flaws, my failures, and say, I'm not good at this, I'm trying, this went wrong, can you help me? To be able to be brave enough to ask for help and to say, this wasn't good, how can I do this better? I think that's very important for all the managers and in the leadership to do this, so all the people will be brave enough to say, this wasn't good, you need to change this, because then we can become better and better and better, and to create the culture that is inclusive and everyone can say, this is not working, we need to improve. I think that's the key.
Yeah. Again, so many things that you've just said, we could sort of pick out and make a whole session about only that. But I think that, I mean, for one thing, that what I'm hearing you saying is, I mean, it doesn't come for free. It takes work, and you actually have to be. I'll never forget. I got a question. I was doing a leadership training with the students at one of the business schools, and I was going through. Sort of, we had this thing where they had to write down what they felt was a good leader, and then sort of wrote down lots of things, and of course everybody can sort of say what they feel would be that kind of thing. And then one of the students said, well, I've been working for a couple of years off and on now, but I've never met anybody who has all of this, and how come there are so many sort of bad leaders out there? And my only answer was that, you know what, it's everybody is a whole person with both good and bad and yin and yang.
Yeah.
And it actually takes a lot of hard work to be. You have to be engaged. You have to care. You actually have to spend time and effort on it. And many of our leaders today, they are so forced into paperwork and admin that they forget that they're actually a big part of their job is actually to lead and to create the best possible environment for their people to thrive as well. And that's kind of forget that part, which is a pity, I think. And I think that you are a really good example of people, somebody who sort of has it sort of top of mind of what you need to work with hands on. I'll just say
you're never done. I think that's very important to know, that you have to have the ambition, as you say. You need to be humble about that. You are never done. You will always need to work on with it, and then of course you need the time. But if you haven't got the ambition, it doesn't matter how much time you have for the people. So I think that's one of the keys.
But that's another thing. I mean, you can't go out and say to people, "We are this company," because if you say something that people don't believe, they'll go, "No, we're not," and that's not, But if you say, "We want to become this company, help us become that," then you shift the dynamics and you get people maybe to buy in a bit more. So I know that one of your other key sort of, we're coming to your, goodness, it's 10 to 3. Where your top, I know one of your big things is, keep evolving and always move steps forward. So that's one part of it. I will just say to everybody online, make sure to ask your questions or post your comments, because we have 10 minutes on the clock. It's a half an hour coffee break only. So, but moving on then with Karin Sjöö Åkebloom about leadership for equality and diversion. If we have some concrete, because I mean, it's one thing to just say, "Oh, I'm going to go out, I'm going to be a nice, cool person, and everybody will be nice and cool around me," but it's not enough. I mean, culture and how we are is one thing, but I know that you have some sort of more sort of hard, clear tips, and I thought we'd sort of start working with your here, Karin's top 3 tips. Look at this, Karin's top 3 tips for leadership for diversity and inclusion. So tip number 1 is prove the point. And what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think it's when you talk about inclusion and diversity, as you said, it's a lot of words, and you want to be this, and I think you need to start with the hard facts. If you are more inclusive, if you are more diverse, research shows that we tend to be more innovative. We get more well-being at a company. And of course, the innovation and well-being will imply that we will have more business, and the business will thrive, and the prosperity and of course the income and the result will be better. So I think you need to start with these hard facts, and then you get the board to be more. Then they, of course, they want to make more money. I mean, that's the thing in a company. So if you can show them the research, this will make us make more money. We need to be more diverse. then we can get to the second point that we'll get to in this, and that is, if you get them to understand this, this is very important for us to make more money. We need to be more inclusive, more diverse, to be more innovative. And then you put up hard KPIs, and because you get what you measure. If you measure this, and it can be the most easy thing is to take, I mean, how many men and women and how many from another country, talk another language, another age, another sex, you name it, all this, and you can put hard KPIs on that and measure that and follow up on that and take actions. What do we need to do? And then you have to try. Then we get into the third point, and we need to try and keep evolving all the time, and then we can try to do this. Okay, that it didn't work for us, then we need to try something else. So just because one thing didn't succeed, we can't stop there, because then we need to try even more. And this is also problem solving. So and I don't have the answer for everyone, not even for us. We are still trying to be better, and just be humble about that. This is not something that you're an expert on this and then you succeed, because you need to do it together in the company and together with your customers, and to create this environment where people want to be and want to develop and want to thrive and do it together. And of course, if you get a more diverse workplace, there will be more discussions. Perhaps there will be more conflicts. People won't think alike, and that can be hard. And then you need to have the methods and a process to work with this, to be able to not just get stuck in the conflicts, to move on and do innovation.
Yeah.
So I think that's important as well. You can't just bring all these people to the table and think, now we are diverse, we will be innovative, and we will make more money. You won't. You need to work with it. So you need to get the process and the methods, and yeah, I think that's very important.
I know, because diversity can be quite messy sometimes.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
just the whole thing of being in a room with somebody that never ever sort of gets what you're trying to say, because you have two different ways of
It's frustrating.
I know, it's so frustrating. And it's like, sort of, can't we just be exactly the same, all of us? I'll just employ people who are exactly like I am, because then we'll always agree with each other. It's perfect. And it's nice, and
No, it's easy. It's comfortable.
Oh yeah. And then of course nothing ever happens, because you don't get anywhere, because everybody comes up with the same solution to every single problem again. So, but diversity is messy and it takes a lot of work. But what do you have any sort of any pointers to all of the aspiring leaders when it comes to if people, like, I work with a lot of young leaders, and Kate and KTS, like, I mean, we go through 400 new ideas per year, of which about 10-15% leave us as something that's going on. So about 40 startups per year. A lot of young, immature but smart people, but just not mature leaders or experienced leaders. Any pointers to them when it comes to working with the hard stuff? I mean, like, diversity, conflicts again. Any pointers?
I think just be humble about that it's hard, and you're not going to solve this on your own. Talk to a mentor or a coach or someone that you look up to and inspires you. Call them, ask, can you help me with this? I have this problem. Can we discuss this? Can you help me? I mean, most people like to help other people, and I mean, it's satisfying to be able to know I can help this person. So I think ask for help and be humble about. You don't pretend to know. It's better to say, I'm not sure how to solve this. Can we do this together? There's a conflict. I don't know how to solve this. What do you think? I think ask a lot of help.
Yeah,
and be humble.
Yeah, but that's a good tip, because surprisingly enough, once you do ask for help, people are often very open to help. as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Which I need to keep reminding the people I work with here is, if you don't know how to solve something, ask for help. I mean, because the worst thing that can happen is that people say, no, I don't have time, or I can't help you. But most often people will actually, if they're humbly and honestly ask for help, they'll actually want to help. So don't be afraid to do that.
And I think also if you want to be more diverse and more inclusive, I think to ask for help is a great key, because if you, and then you need to ask someone for help that differs from yourself, and that this person might have another opinion, and it's more comfortable to not ask that person. But if you do that, you get another point of view, and perhaps you can get a more understanding of the conflict. And then, okay, perhaps I need to think differently, or at least take in this perspective on the problem. So ask for help, honestly and humbly.
And if nothing else, I think that I know that I've had to work with myself a lot of that as well. It's just trying to understand that, not everybody sees the world the way I do.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say that nobody else sees the world I do. But I will say, and it's just getting to the point where you can understand at least where somebody's coming from. That doesn't mean that you have to accept everything that they're saying. It's just saying that understanding where they're coming from, and that's the first step to sort of bridging the gap between. Because it's in the middle ground between the people. That's where the magic happens. It's not in over on your side, or it's not me right or you wrong or whatever. It's like when we actually get to a point where we can talk about things and see that the synergy of our both of us actually creates something bigger than parts.
And not to be afraid of disagreeing. I think that's also a key. And as you say, in the gap, I mean, we understand each other, we respect each other, we don't have to agree. And then we come to a decision, and perhaps not everyone is not keen on the decision, but we can still move on.
Yeah, but again, I mean, if we're in it together, if we're doing something that's bigger than the both of us, like in a team, in any sport, we can do any sports analogies, but we can do a company analogy as well. I mean, the thing is, if it's bigger than us as individuals, then we both need to accept as well that sometimes decisions will be made that aren't exactly aligned with what I think we should be doing. That's just the way it is. That's
exactly.
That's like any relationship, for Christ's sake. It's a give and take thing, right? So anyway. It's 14:59. We're almost on the nose, 3 o'clock. This is a short, I told you, it's the fastest half an hour in the world. Thank you, everyone, for being online on YouTube and LinkedIn. Here's comments from YouTube. Don't be afraid to ask at worst. I say no. Thank you, Yash, from India. We've had people from Norway. We've had lots of people on Instagram Live as well today. Matt from USA. We've had all over the world. And reach out to Karin Sjöö Åkebloom on LinkedIn. She is an amazing CEO. We'll write lots of really good content on LinkedIn about both diversity and equality and leadership as well. So follow her on LinkedIn. Thank you, Karin, so much for being on the show with me today. You made my day. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you. You made my day.
Okay.
Have a nice day. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.